Hey, welcome to the most important episode PF Gold Rush. If you are a true fan of them, you did not miss a second of it. There are many claims being actively mined in this area, including those featured on Gold Rush, but please note that they're all closed to the public. However, taking an afternoon to drive around this famous loop will have you feeling like an amateur gold miner. Look out though, these miners know the road like the back of their hand and will come tearing up behind you in their pickup trucks, but who knows, maybe it will be Parker behind the wheel. First up on the drive, you can stop by Claim 33 to rent a gold pan and learn a few panning tips. Even the likes of Parker and Rick would have started out with a pan in a creek. As you drive along, take in the sight of Dredge No. 4, largest wooden hull bucket line dredge in North America, and no, it's not Tony's dredge, it's better. Having mined 9 tons of gold over its 46 years in operation, it's now been restored by Parks Canada. Read the interpretive panels or take a tour during the summer months and learn how this beast digs for gold. Next, stop by Discovery Claim, the site where gold was first discovered in 1896 and started the gold rush that's still going on today. Finally, stop by Free Claim number 6 and put those gold pans to work. Bonus: keep any gold you find, but beware that the search for gold can be addicting. If you decide to drive the whole loop, there are plenty of vantage points to stop and take in the view of the gold fields. Stop at the Ridge Road Trail. In the distance is Paradise Hill, where Tony and his crew are hard at work. As you keep driving the loop, you'll see old mining equipment, abandoned dredges, and even spot the sign for Paradise Hill. Stop for a photo, but please do not enter any mine sites, it will be considered trespassing. Take a drive around Dawson City and we're sure you will recognize a few places. Head down to the Yukon River and check out the Klondike Spirit, the same paddle wheeler where Rick Ness held Parker's 21st birthday bash. Next, walk up the street to take in the beautiful Palace Grand Theatre. You'll recognize it from Monica Beat's wedding reception. Tours of the building are available through Parks Canada. If you have your heart set on seeing a working mine, take a tour with Gold Bottom Mine Tours. They'll drive you out to their active mine and show you how it's done. After, you'll be able to pan for gold on their property and keep what you find. Last but not least, you may be able to spot Tony Beat's barge, the Jasmine Bee, on the shore of the Yukon River, in the north end of town. If you're really lucky, you can watch it sail in or out of town while it carries supplies over to Paradise Hill. As you wander the streets of Dawson, keep your eyes peeled. You might run into your favorite Gold Rush stars while having dinner, spending a night at Gertie's, or even outside the general store. There won't be any fanfare, though you might even have to do a double take to make sure it's really them. First up on the drive, you can stop by Claim 33 to rent a gold pan and learn a few panning tips. Even the likes of Parker and Rick would have started out with a pan in a creek. The first major gold strike in North America occurred near Dale Negro, Georgia, in the late 1820s. It was the impetus for the Indian Removal Act and led to the Trail of Tears. The best-known strike occurred at Sutter's Mill, near the Sacramento River in California, in 1848. On January the 24th of that year, while John Sutter was having a sawmill built, his carpenter, James W. Marshall, found gold. Sutter and Marshall agreed to become partners, and despite their best efforts to keep their find a secret, they were soon besieged by thousands of fortune seekers who camped out under conditions that only the promise of gold could make them endure. By the following year, about 80,000 14ers had stampeded to the California goldfields, and 250,000 of them had made it by 1853. In what was a typical pattern, the gold rush slackened as the most workable deposits were exhausted and organized capital and machinery replaced the efforts of individual miner adventurers with more efficient and businesslike operations. Likewise, The lawless and violent mining camps gave way to permanent settlements with organized government and law enforcement. Those settlements that lacked other viable economic activities when the gold was exhausted soon became ghost towns. California, flag. More from Britannica. California, the gold rush. The next large gold rush began in Australia in 1851, when rich deposits were found in the Ballarat and Bendigo regions of Victoria. These strikes drew diggers to Victoria's chief town, Melbourne, from all over Australia and England until the early 1860s. While the gold found in North America was usually in the form of dust or very fine grains, it was commonplace in Australia to find nuggets of gigantic size and value. The largest of these, the whole Terman nugget, weighed more than 200 pounds. Other, smaller North American gold rushes occurred along the Fraser River in British Columbia, at the Comstock Lode near Virginia City in Nevada, along Cripple Creek in Colorado, and in the Black Hills of South Dakota. Bitter cold was the hallmark of one of the last great North American gold rushes, along the Klondike River and other tributaries of the Upper Yukon River in Canadian Territory in 1896. The rush was in full sway by 1898, and the new town of Dawson sprang up to accommodate the miners. Though it would serve as the setting of some of the most memorable novels and short stories of Jack London, the Klondike Gold Rush was short-lived and had essentially ended by 1899. South Africa's gold rush was quite different in character from those in North America and Australia. In 1886, a diamond digger from Kimberley named George Harrison discovered gold in the Witwatersrand, or Rand, district of the Transvaal. By the end of the year, the area had been proclaimed a goldfield, with the village called Johannesburg as its center, and many prospectors had moved in. But the geology of the Witwatersrand necessitated large machinery to extract the gold-bearing ore from the ground economically, and it quickly became apparent that the fields could not be worked by the independent miner adventurers of previous gold rushes. After the first surge of fortune seekers into the Witwatersrand, financiers from the Kimberley diamond mines began buying up tracts there, and the many small mining companies were gradually consolidated into what became great mining corporations. They alone could afford the technical expertise and the expensive mining and refining equipment needed to process the gold-bearing reefs of the Witwatersrand effectively. Unlike the goldfields of North America and Australia, which usually petered out after a few years or a decade of work, the Witwatersrand mining operations grew continually from the 1890s and are now the world's largest producers of gold.